The Mishnah in Pirkei Avos in the second Perek, Mishnah Daled, discusses a lot of very fundamental points. Why shouldn't we separate ourselves from a group of people, a congregation? Does that apply in all cases? We're going to see 6 reasons, 6 explanations, and we're going to be learning about a lot of other very relevant information. The Mishnah says, Hu Hayomer. He would say, this is actually going back on what it says in the second Mishnah of this parak. It's referring to Rabbi Gamliel, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. He would say, Aseh ritzoino kiritzonecha. You should do your will like his will. Your will like his will, aka like Hashem's will. Kedei sheyaseh ritzoinecha kiritzoino, in order that Hashem will do your will like his will. Batel ritzoinecha ibnei ritzoino. You should nullify and cancel your will because of his will. Kedei sheyevatel ratzon acherim ibnei ritzoinecha. In order that Hashem will nullify the will of others for your will. Hillel Omer. Hillel would say, well-known line, Al tifresh min hatzibur. Don't separate yourself from the congregation. Tifresh min hatzibur. Val tamim ba'atzmecha ad yoim ha'ischa. Don't believe in yourself until the day of death. Val todin es chavercha ad shetagil l'makaymo. Don't judge your friend until you reach his place. Val tomer davar she'efshar l'shema yeshasofi l'shama. Don't say that something is impossible to listen to, because the end will be listened to. We'll have to see exactly what that cryptic statement means. Don't say that something is impossible to listen to, because you could listen to it. We'll see. Don't say when I have time I will learn, because you might not have time to learn. What is the explanation of do his will? Several explanations. One, Rashi explains when someone is performing his own needs, he should do so for the sake of heaven, in order that heaven will send down an abundance to you. Explanation 2, Rav Jimmy Bartanur explains, one should spend money for heavenly matters, like he spends money for his own needs. Someone who does this will be given an abundance in a generous manner. Explanation number 3, Tiferes Yisrael explains, the earlier Mishnah K, the second Mishnah of the parak, said that we should Yalfet Talmud Torim Derech Eretz, which we discussed, Parak Aleph Mishnah Yud at length, learning versus working, Kol, etc., and all the discussions over there. So what this is saying is, we were talking about discussing the importance of working and of learning. This Mishnah therefore teaches us to equate them, meaning, when we learn Torah, which is Hashem's will, we have to do so with zrizis, a quickness, happiness, and without a scattered mind, a clear mind. Just like when people work, they don't think about other matters, they just fully focus on their work. The same applies to learning Torah. Just like one fully focuses on his work, so too, we have to be fully focused when we learn Torah. When one does this, Hashem will perform his will and give him good income, good parnasa, easily. Explanation number 4, Rabbi Yosef Evan Nechemish. It's quoted by the Mesivta in the Biur Hapshah, footnote 34, explains that some have another text of this Mishnah. Do his will with your will. What does this mean? We shouldn't perform the mitzvahs when we are sad, and as if we're forced and don't have a choice. Rather, we should willingly and happily perform the mitzvah so that Hashem will willingly and happily do our will. Sometimes Hashem does people's will with anger and punishes the person afterwards. That's the idea. What's the explanation of don't separate from the tzibur? Don't separate from the congregation. 6 different ideas over here. Rashi in the Bartanura, this is a very important idea, explains that we shouldn't separate from the congregation during a time of difficulty and pain. Rather, we should join them. When everyone's going through difficulty, we should join them. Tiferes Yisrael similarly also says that when everyone is when the congregation encounters a state of distress, we have to feel their pain, even if we aren't under that distress. We have to imagine if we're going through that same difficulty. Gemara in Tainus is a proof to this. And Yud Aleph Amud Aleph, see the recordings over there on Tainus. The Gemara says that when the Jews are in pain and you don't join them, angels come, place their hands on this fellow's head and say that the person who's separated from the congregation shouldn't see the nechama, see everyone getting consoled. Rather, says the Gemara, we should paint ourselves with everyone else like Moshe. And if we do this, we'll merit seeing the Jews being consoled. Machzer Vitri explains we have to join the congregation when they decide to have a communal fast or prayer. The obvious question on this explanation of Rashi and the Rav Adjami Bar Tanura, who said, don't separate during a time of difficulty and pain, you should join them. The obvious question is, so for example, during the Holocaust, right? If we were around then, we should go to Europe to join in their pain and then get exterminated in a concentration camp, get tortured and killed. What exactly is the explanation of this? So if you look at the Magen Avram, Siman Tov Kuf Ayin Dalid Oz Vav, he explains that no. According to the pshat in this Rashi and this Bartanur is that you should join the congregation when they're in a state of distress only if you're able to make a difference. Financially, you could help them. Physically, you could help them. If you can't save them, you shouldn't be in a dangerous location. Don't go there. Prima Gadam and Mishnah Brura, also the Mishnah Brura in Yud Gimel, Prima Gadam on that Magen Avram says that if you're able to daven for people, you have to daven for them. That's for sure. So it depends exactly on the situation regarding this specific scenario. If you're able to help them or not. Can't help them, don't go there. There's no point of getting yourself in danger as well. Explanation 2. Rabbeinu Yonah explains that one should not separate from the congregation when they're involved with the mitzvah. When everyone is involved with the mitzvah, it's very honorable, and it gives more honor and splendor to Hashem. Berovam Hadras Melech. This specifically refers to a congregation that is going in the right direction. However, don't follow a congregation that's going in the wrong direction and doing bad things. And someone who separates from them is praiseworthy. So there's a few very important points over here. Number one, if everyone's doing good, follow them. However, that's if they're doing good. If they're going in the wrong direction, stay away from them. And if you separate from them, that's praiseworthy. So in other words, Al Tifrosh Minat Sibor isn't a blanket statement. You have to know, right? You have to know what's best for your serving Hashem and what really Hashem wants you to do. If the group isn't as religious as they should be, for example, so then you stay away, even though they're a group. Explanation 3, Tiferes Shel explains that we can't deviate from the customs of the congregation. You're in a certain group, you have to go with those customs. Reason number 4, explanation number 4, Tiferes Shel explains is that if they're going to gather together a whole group of people to discuss starting a new shir or a minyan or a new mitzvah or public matter, don't say whatever decision they make, I'll follow with it. No. We should get there and give our advice and opinion, assuming that we have something positive to say, and they're going to want to hear it. Should add that point in. We have something good to say, and they're going to want to hear it. Explanation number 5. Tiferes Shel explains that when we daven for ourselves, we should include others in our davening, not just daven for ourselves. Explanation number 6. Tiferes Shel explains a leader isn't allowed to completely mix with others in order to demonstrate that he is an equivalent. Nevertheless, there's still some sort of line that needs to be drawn. He shouldn't completely isolate himself either. Important for a leader, it's referring to. The leader shouldn't think he's the master and it's beneath his honor to mix with the servants. If he does this, he's going to lose the love of his followers. They're going to view their leader as an arrogant foreigner. Aristotle concludes by saying, guard these ideas because they're a precious secret that most people stumble with. What does it mean, don't believe in yourself until the day of death? In Rashi quotes it says, it's simple. It's the Gemara in Brachos on Chav Tesam and Aleph. Yochanan was a Kohen Gadol for 80 years, and at the end of his life, became a Stuki. He went off, became a heretic. We can't believe in ourselves. We have to have confidence. It's important, self-esteem, but we still can't get overly confident and cocky and arrogant. What is the explanation as of Al Tadin es chavercha ad shetagil makomo? Don't judge your friend until you reach his place. Ben Yonah explains, when you see that your friend isn't doing something proper, don't say, if you were in that situation, you wouldn't do such a thing, since you didn't reach his place. No one ever reached the place of someone else. And therefore, we shouldn't judge someone negatively because we didn't reach that place. This, by the way, is more of a leeway or leniency, if you will, than the mission in the first parak that said Avidan is called the Makav Schus to judge everyone favorably, because that was only referring to a righteous person, even if it looks like he's doing everything is wrong, so you have to judge him favorably. The wicked person, even if it looks like what he's doing right, you judge him unfavorably. The person in the middle, you have to judge favorably. He's in a middle average situation. So this is different. This is saying, no, don't judge anyone until you reach their place. What's the explanation of don't say that something's impossible to be heard, etc.? Explanation number one, Rashi explains, don't say something Torah related that you're able to hear now that you're going to listen to it later. No, if you're able to listen to Torah, listen right now. Explanation two, Rashi explains, don't say a secret that others can't hear. Because in the end, people are going to find out about the secret and know that you said it. Chafetz Chaim, by the way, in Sefer Chafetz Chaim in Hilchos Rechilus, Chal Ches, Os, hey, see the recordings of Rabbi under the Halacha section, rules that it's prohibited to reveal a secret to someone. A secret that someone told you. Explanation number three, Bartanur explains that when we talk, we have to be clear in order that that the people who listen to us, in order that they won't error. It's important. Be clear. What's the explanation of Al Tomer Likisha Efne Eshne Shemelotipana? Don't say that when you have more time to learn, you're going to learn because you might not have more time to learn. This is actually one of my favorite lines. Something that we see from over here is the importance of not procrastinating also. Don't say I'll do it later. No, just do it now. Explanation number one, Rabbeinu Yonah explains, we have to learn now because who knows if we're going to be able to learn tomorrow. First of all, there's distractions which are happening all the time. And second of all, who knows? Maybe we'll get sick, something will happen. We therefore have to learn in order that we don't end up departing from this world without any Torah. To make our Torah learning set like we learned last time in the 15th mission of the first parak. Distractions all the time, excuses all the time. It come up every single day. It's always going to be, oh, tomorrow, 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 and then it ends up being never. Explanation number two, Rash Bates explains that even if someone will be free later and able to learn, guess what? Still learn now. Someone who's able to learn should do so immediately. Every moment we're obligated to learn, as we discussed in Sefer Yeshua Parak Al Pasaches, and make the Torah learning set. Like we saw that Mishnah from before, 15th mission in the first parak. Explanation number three, Tiferes Yisrael explains that this refers to a leader or someone who works. Someone who's typically busy and preoccupied has to learn when he has free time in the middle of the day. You shouldn't think, oh, what can I do during a short lunch break? What could I accomplish during a short break? I'll learn later when I have more time. No, no, no. These small periods should be utilized. Many of these small periods of time add up to long periods of time throughout a person's life. Explanation number four, Tiferes Yisrael explains that this Mishnah is referring to the importance of reviewing what a person learned. Reviewing what a person learned is an obligation for anyone who wants to have success with his learning. The Gemara relates, Megillah Daf Zayin, other places, that when someone reviews what he learned 7 times, it's as if your learning is placed in your pocket, which means you'll remember it more. It's a whole discussion in and of itself about that Gemara, but When you review, you're going to understand the material more. The Torah is compared to meat. It's worthwhile to see this Tiferes shell inside, but the Torah is compared to meat. The more you chew the meat, the more flavor you get. Torah is also compared to an engaged woman, a rusa. An engaged woman isn't going to reveal all of her secrets to her chassan, groom, immediately. After time, she'll get more comfortable with him in many different ways. Same applies to Torah. The more we learn and review, the more the more Torah that's going to be revealed to us. It's going to end up being called our Torah. Tairoso, Gemara Avodah Zarah, Yud Tes. Reviewing will also help one remember his what he learned. Because if you're going to learn without reviewing, that's like you're planting but you're not watering. It's not going to survive. Mishnah Brura says that if one wasn't able to learn during his set time to learn, he should make up the learning time at night, not the next day. This is in Reish Lamed Ches Oz Daled. The next day has its own independent obligations. It should be pointed out that according to the Pischei Tshuva in Yoredeya, in the beginning of Hilchos Talmud Torah, in Reish Mem Vav, one is able to make up his learning the next day. He should first learn the previous day learning and then move on to the current learning so that he doesn't forget about the previous day. There's another Mishnah Brura. Mishnah Brura in Kuf Nun Hey Oz Daled says that before you leave shul in the morning, minimally just learn one halacha or one quick pasuk. This way, even if you had extenuating circumstances throughout the day and you were unable to learn more that day, you fulfilled your obligation of learning. Chafetz Chaim in his Sefer Toras Habayis, page 158, explains that this statement of the Mishnah Al Tamar Kisha'efna Eshna Shem Lo Tipana was referring to thousands of years ago, when they didn't work as many hours as we work nowadays. They didn't have the same ol of Derech Eretz. Says the Chafetz Chaim, and this Mishnah certainly applies nowadays. This is almost 100 years ago he said that. Nowadays, someone who says, "L'kisha'efna eshna," when I have time, I'll learn. Change the text of the Mishnah. Don't say Shema lo tipana. You might not have time to learn. Rather, change it to Vade lo tipana. You definitely won't have time to learn. The Chafetz Chaim said this 100 years ago. This certainly applies nowadays. Very important point. Any questions, comments?
No, Yoshikayach
Okay. Mitzvah Hashem, we will continue on Monday.
on
Everyone
Monday.
have a wonderful Shabbos. A good Chodesh.
Sure.
Don't forget to have a lavish Suda, but not too late, not too close to Shabbos.
Oh, it should be extra. It should be extra baked in. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Extra. Nice
A
lavish.
little, a little bigger.
Yep. And wash. Yeah,
I know wash, but
wash.
a little bigger.
Yeah, bigger. Try to wash, but not too late. Not too late. Some tough yud
All
tests.
right. Very good.
All right. Call it.
Sure.